Good morning. Today is Monday, June the 15th, 2020. Today I want to talk to you about a subject that's very seldom talked about anymore. And that's the subject, is hell real? Now before I go into this, I'd just like to say that I personally don't like the idea of hell. It's repulsive to me. But God is more holy, more righteous, more loving than I am, and He really doesn't need me to tell Him what to do. God is going to do what's right. Now, since no one has gone to hell and come back and tell us what it's like, we have to turn to Jesus and see what Jesus said, because Jesus said in John chapter 14, He was the way, the truth, and the life. So what Jesus said is true. We don't have to doubt that. He is truth. He cannot lie. So let's look this morning and see what Jesus said about hell and see if He says it's real or not. So we'll begin in Matthew 25:41. Jesus said, "Then shall He say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels." So Jesus here says that there's an everlasting fire. It was not made for men, but it was prepared for the devil and for the devil's angels. All right, in Matthew 25, again in verse 46, it says, "And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal." So He says there will be everlasting punishment. Then several verses in the book of Mark, Mark 9:43-48, Jesus kind of opens up the subject here. And listen to what He says. "And if thy hand offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter into life maimed than having two hands to go into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched." Now, what He says here is, if your hand is offending you and keeping you from being saved, you'd be better off to cut your hand off so that you go to heaven and not have to go to hell, where the fire is never quenched. Then the next verse He says, "Where their worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched." Now, I want you to notice it doesn't say where the worms, plural, are, but single worm, where their, and it shows ownership, their worm. So it's something that belongs to each person. Most commentators agree that this worm, their worm, is their memory, that over and over and over again they will remember the chances they had to be saved and how they turned it down. And that will go on and on and on, it says, forever. Then in verse 45, "And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet be cast into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched, where their worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched." So He says the same thing over again. He says, and by the way, we never see anyone cutting their hand or their foot off. What He's saying, if there's something that offends you, something that's keeping you from getting saved, get rid of it. Because it's better to get rid of it than to go into hell and have that memory going over and over. Then in verse 47, "If thy eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for thee to enter into the kingdom of God with one eye than having 2 eyes be cast into hell fire, where the worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched." So Jesus specifically mentions hell and eternal fire. John 3:36 says, "He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him." Then in John 5:28 and 29, it says, "Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. All right, so Jesus said, everybody be resurrected. Some are going to be resurrected to go to heaven. Some people are going to be resurrected to go to hell. Now then, pretty clear to me that Jesus teaches that there is a place called hell. That should motivate me and you to tell others about Jesus Christ so that they don't have to go to this place called hell. I've heard people say, I don't think God would send anybody to hell. God has done everything he can do to keep people out of hell. He doesn't send anyone to hell. People go to hell because they make a choice to reject Jesus Christ and the free gift that he's offered. Now, there are two places mentioned about hell. One's called Hades, one called the lake of fire. Tomorrow, we will talk a little bit about the place Hades. So until tomorrow, may God give you a great day today.